he started a podcast named Trinity Podcast, consistently on Substack for quite a number of years now. And one personal history that I have with him was a post he made on Substack about something he was going through and how he was able to partake in the grace of supernatural health, and that blew my mind. So in this interview series, we're going to be asking him some questions relating to his popular catchphrase that everyone knows him for, purpose, right? And so, Sir Ayomide Soretire, welcome to the exit interview. How do you feel?
Good morning, everyone. Eric, thank you so much for having me today. I feel good. Coupled with the fact that I'm exiting school, I'm really good. Excited, actually.
There is a way you keep getting better than you were, and it has shown over the time. So what's the secret to it?
Actually, I think it's not a same secret now. It's making everything feel always you. So I think really there is one thing I can look back to and still look at right now. It's I love God so much that nothing can stop you. For example, people experience setbacks. A lot of people do not know that their spiritual life is responsible for how the area of their life flourish. So for me, the balance is if my spiritual life is fine, every other thing will fall in line, every other thing will fall in place, basically. And many people have stumbling blocks because they're young. A lot of things that can debar your walk with God. All right. For example, I've struggled with addictions over the years, right? In the past, before God finally delivered me. There was something that could have buried my spiritual walk with God, was that addiction. But it was a thing of God loves me so much, and I've seen His love, I've experienced it. In spite of this addiction, I will keep going. I know it's just like the analogy that Apostle Manurian gives, that when you begin to take flight, when you look at story of a eagle that's been attacked by ox, right? It doesn't need to struggle, it just needs to keep climbing higher into the clouds, and then they will drop off at some point. It's just that love God so much, nothing stops you, basically.
Wow. My next question is, given that you are a man of purpose, as we have said earlier, under, let's just say 5 to 10 minutes, give us a crash course on purpose.
So I think just so that we understand what we're really trying to, and where really trying to land, I think it's important we redefine purpose. So over the years, I've seen a couple of definitions from different people. Apostle Aaron, for example, defines, I mentioned him a lot because I look up to him, it's like a role model. Defines purpose as the one thing that you must succeed at. If you don't succeed at it, every other thing that you succeed at doesn't really count. Dr. Miles Monroe defines purpose at why you're on earth. So I think my own definition would be purpose is what you've been called to do in for God's kingdom, basically. And so looking at that definition, it means you were created to exist in God's kingdom and you were created to function in that kingdom, basically. And that's the whole premise of purpose, Ephesians chapter 1, from verse 1 to 11. When we understand that God's eternal or grand scheme of things, He just basically wants to have a family, a large family. And His purpose is, first of all, that we are a part of that family, and that being a part of that family, we contribute in unique and specific ways to the furtherance of that family or that kingdom, basically. So I think that's really what purpose is about, what you've been called to do in and for God's kingdom. Yeah.
That's really brilliant. So my next question would be, what are the 3 core values that have been of importance to you and as beauty to this point? And then the next is, do you have any mentors that have really helped you along your journey?
I think I have a number of them, but like I said, 3, stick to 3. First is, of course, spirituality. Be spiritual. Love God, love His kingdom, love His ways. Pattern your life around His kingdom. Don't just be a Christian by associating with the Christian religion. Be a Christian indeed. Don't be an hypocrite. Be a Christian indeed. First one is spirituality. Second thing I think is going to be intentionality. Be very intentional about how you live your life. There are many Christians today that are Christians, but they are still not intentional about their lives, and they are where they are by God's grace. So it's intentionality. Third thing is consistency. I think this is perhaps the basis for every other thing to really gain grounds over the years. I realized the power of consistency during my IT, where I wrote a book during that time. And I realized that I only spent my evenings when I come back from work, you're tired, every other person just wants to Netflix and chill. I just said, the first 1 hour, 30 minutes, I get them, I will just work on this book. And I was looking back 3 weeks, and I'm like, I've covered this much ground in 3 weeks as regards to this book. Consistency is key. So it's spirituality, intentionality, and consistency. And so as regards mentors, I think I would like to split it to mentors and role models. So
If I may ask, what's the difference between the two?
I think when you say role models they're like mentors that you don't have direct access to, but you have access to their resources, their materials, maybe their sermons or their talks and stuff like that. Good example of that is to a large extent, I think Papa Chef David Oyedepo is a mentor, but really I think he falls more on the role model because I don't have a direct access. So I'm hoping to meet him before I fly, right? So Apostle Trisha Selman, that's my first pastor actually. The one thing about Apostle Trisha Selman, it's how he makes spiritual or Christian principles very life applicable. It's not just something you hear, it's something you can hear and live. It for him, it's more, I don't want to use all practical, but it's more applicable to your day-to-day living. So it's actually a sermon of his that I would say changed my entire life. The Power of Decision, that was in 2018. One sermon, 2 hours, I think 38 minutes. He highlighted 4 areas that you should make particular decisions about. That when you're looking back in 5 years, you would see that the difference between where you used to be and where you are now, it's like night and day. So yeah, Apostle Solomon second.
Okay. So.
Third, Apostle Manuel Iren, of course. All right.
The Gen Z pastor of our age. I always call him that.
And
but
fourth, Dr. Miles Monroe.
Oh.
Really great influence on my life. And
please, you should check out his books. Very amazing.
Amazing books, actually. Especially the Potential series.
Oh.
Understand your potential, uncover your potential, releasing your potential, and maximizing your potential. Beautiful set of books that you should read.
If you're listening, write it on your list to buy. You should get them.
So I think more to mentor side now. For the past 3 years, I've been mentored by the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Korean University. Solanra Model has been a huge and tremendous advantage. I met him 2 weeks ago with my team, and he gave us 2 hours of his time, something that is very unusual. And it was just pouring, and it's amazing.
I think my first encounter with him was he spoke to us when we were entering. So amongst every speaker, he was just distinct. I did not know what that man carried. Maybe it was grace. I don't know. Yeah. And I was mesmerized. I said, no, I need to listen to more of him. So genuinely, when I saw that purpose event that you were hosting, the reason I came was first because it was you, then coupled with the fact that Pastor Raymond was speaking, and I did not. If you're coming to Covenant University, guys, follow Trinity. Any events they are hosting, not because he's here, but any events they are hosting, be a part of it. Especially when it comes to do with purpose, please be a part of it. Let's continue.
All right. So, mentors as it goes as well. My pastor, Pastor Peter Ebong, is the pastor of Restoration World Church, Abuja. So I met him in 2019, December, thereabout. Yeah. So I think these are the biggest influences in my life.
So I think we should name it the SIC Model: Spirituality, Intentionality, and Consistency. Oh, wow. So now, the fourth question I have here before we go to the last question is, throughout your journey in the school or throughout your journey in life, what do you think is the most important thing that it has taught you?
So I think 2 things, right?
Okay.
I know you said one.
That's fine. That's fine.
So first thing I would say is ensure that you're constantly at the center of God's will for your life. So for me, there's one thing I like to divide the 5 years into seasons. So in every season, staying in Covenant University, there's one thing I've always ran after is, Lord, keep me at the epicenter of your will in my life. I don't want to be off by a degree or too fast or slacking by, just at the epicenter of your will for my life. The second thing is just to keep your heart simple. I think I learned this when I was in my 100 level. I was reading about King Saul when he disobeyed God, didn't wait for Samuel, and he offered the sacrifice. And then Samuel came, and Samuel said something. Samuel said, this was God speaking through Samuel. Samuel said, when you were small in your own eyes, did I not make you king over my people? God was looking back at Saul's journey, and he was looking for that young boy that he made king, and he could not find him again. He had suddenly became so big in his own eyes that obeying God was no longer a big deal to him. So it's keeping your heart simple, keeping things simple. Don't complicate things. You're tired of keeping things so simple. Don't complicate things and lose your heart in the process. So yeah.
That's in the winner. Thank you so much for that. And so to our final question, before we do the hidden one, compress the 5 years to one sentence. Would you give us something?
I think it would be love God with all your heart and trust Him regardless of.
So now for our hidden question. If you look at this guy and who you are today, what's one thing you're grateful for?
And being intentional about your life early. I think that's it.
Before we close, what question would you have for the person coming up?
If by privilege of grace or by any special ability, you can see the future and you can see where God is taking you and all these sacrifices to take to get there, would you still give yourself to it?
Thank you so much, Sir Ayo, for your time, and we'll see you in the next episode.